Hey everybody, my name is Justin and welcome to Meet Monroe, a video series where we are going to get together and meet the wonderful people and business owners in our community that keep our community going. Today is our very first episode. I'm incredibly excited. We get to introduce the owner of Monroe Pizza and Pints, Burnt Barrel Whiskey Bar, Monroe Munchies, and I believe it's, the Box and Board, which is a charcuterie spot here in town. You probably already know who I'm talking about. I'm here to welcome the one, the only, Bridget Tuttle.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. I'm a little nervous. It's my first time ever being on camera for a live show.
Oh man.
I'm sure it's probably your first time as well.
Yeah, I'm more a behind the scenes kind of gal.
Yeah. So I sent you a message 2 weeks ago about this, right? Or
Yeah,
2 or 3 weeks.
yeah.
What made you want to come on the show?
Well, your kind invitation for one. I'm passionate about the community. I love my city. I love doing business here and getting to know people here. So I want to get to know you, of course, and support your business as well.
Thank you.
And you said some really nice things in the message. So
The thing she's
yeah.
referencing is I started my business 2020. I got laid off from my job at Microsoft and I just kind of didn't know where to go. And I decided to start an IT business here called Crystal Clear Solutions. We do IT support for a handful of businesses here. And when I first started, I had no idea where to start, like what was going on. I was just a person who lived in the town and worked outside of it and didn't really interact with the community much. But being home with COVID and all that, it was really important to me to become part of the community as opposed to just outside of it. And one of the things I noticed when I started joining all these Facebook groups is that Bridget was always on there, and the people who brought her up were always talking about the nice things she did to help them and going out of her way to really support the community. Your involvement with the Equity Council and all that stuff is really inspiring to me as a person when it comes to just making that change from being in the community to being part of the community.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah,
that was kind of why I wanted you on here.
Thank you,
And
yeah.
I was looking forward to.
And you're a business owner, so I'm here to help whatever you need. This is a good start for you to create this format and maybe encourage other people in the community to come on. It's not as scary as I thought it would be. So so here we are. We got our Sky River Bakery coffee from downstairs, and we're in this really pretty little space that you created.
Yeah, I started off my morning with one of those sausage cheese rolls
Oh
they
yeah.
have down
Oh
there.
yeah.
So good.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I got a handful of boilerplate
Sure,
questions I sent them
yeah.
to you ahead of time, so I'm hoping they're all okay. The very first one I had, and what I want to know is what inspired you to start your business and what keeps you motivated to keep going?
Great questions. You did send them to me ahead of time. I try not to overthink it. So I will say I'm not the first business owner in our family, and I get a lot of credit for the projects I've built. But my husband actually was the first one to launch us into an entrepreneurial journey. He had a detail shop for 13 or 14 years down in Kirkland when we lived closer to that area. And that's no longer, that's a very hard job. It's cold, it's wet, there's chemicals. I don't think it's great health wise. So, and I always I always joked that there's not a job industry that I haven't worked in. I'm a curious person and I like learning new things, and also I have ADHD. So I would go somewhere, learn the thing, master it, become a little bit bored, want to do something else. But my background has always been in working with kids, students, children with autism, children with, having a hard time in life. So I was in school districts as well as I was doing social media marketing for a hot minute. And I was doing some social media for a local business owner who owned a pizza restaurant.
Okay.
And one day they were behind on deliveries, and he said, I'm going to run this pizza up to this address. You want to hop in the car? So I did. And, it's pretty fun. Yeah. I was like, okay. So we did that. And after, I think it was just a really busy night. We did a few of them. And I said, If you ever need any help, I'm pretty familiar with the area, and I was mostly a stay-at-home mom. So holler at me. I could use a few extra bucks too.
Yeah.
And so it kind of started that way. And then in 2 months, I was managing the restaurant. My only food experience was doing coffee, espresso in 1990, I think, on one of the first espresso bars in Snohomish when coffee was becoming a thing. Um, so I never done restaurant work before, and but I'm good at managing. I have a lot of strong administrative skills. I think I'm pretty good at building a culture and a team. And so that was really fun for me. It was fun to learn a new thing. It's a very responsive business, so you can't plan. The phone rings, you do the thing. Someone walks in, you do the thing.
Yeah.
You don't really know what every day is going to look like, but I got to know so many people. Some of my favorite friends are people that I met waiting tables, and some of my other favorite friends are people who have worked for me that started at 16, 17, 18, 25 years old, and we're still in touch. So,
It's wonderful.
yeah, the opportunity presented itself. My boss was ready to, he was done doing that area of his life, and so we worked out a deal and he sold it to me, and yeah, there you go. That's what happened.
That's amazing. Oh man, the idea of going through life and building those like really like lifelong connections within
Yeah.
your community and being part of that growth, it's got to have been incredible to see over the years as things change and new people come in, and old businesses have thrived and made it all the way through, and some I'm sure haven't made it,
Yeah.
which is quite common. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is Meet Monroe. We have Bridget Tuttle here. She is telling us all about her businesses and her journey through life. Something I forgot to do at the beginning that I really wanted to make sure that I did
Yeah.
is announce, my name's Justin. My pronouns are he, him. I'm currently wearing a black t-shirt with a gray hoodie on. For those of you who can't see what we look like, and welcome all of you. This show is for you and for the businesses here and people here who just really want to get to know what's going on in town when we're not able to look. So thanks for joining us. I incredibly appreciate
Thank
it.
you. My pronouns are she, her.
Awesome. Cool. All right, moving on. Next question I have. Oh, I love this one. So this question resonated with me because trying to run a business or start a business, when you're kind of conceptualizing everything, is super exciting, right? You're like, oh, this is everything. Boom, boom, boom. This is amazing. But at some point, there's only so much time in the
Yeah.
day, right? I have a family. I've got my wife and my kids, and their time with me is incredibly important to me, and my time with to be able to spend with them and enjoy that is important. And something that I've struggled with is kind of like creating that work-life balance that
Yeah.
people talk about, which I think is a bit of a misnomer.
Yes, for sure.
I want to know is how has owning businesses and being such an entrepreneurial person affected your personal life in positive ways as well as potentially negative ways, or things that you've learned over the time?
Yeah. The thing about restaurants is that, like I said, there's not a lot of planning, and there's also equipment,
Yeah.
and there's staff. And you're right. It takes an incredible amount of discipline to maintain what we call a work-life balance. I have not achieved that. I actually am really bad at that. I am maxed out most of the time. It's something that I would advise people to get a better hold on earlier than I have. So I started the restaurant in January of 2012. So here we are. And
10 years.
yeah,
That is
I
impressive.
yeah, yep. I bought it in 2016 in the summer. So coming up on some anniversary there. And we went through COVID,
Yeah.
and that was its own adventure. So this year, one of my commitments to myself, and I'm becoming a woman of a certain age, I need to think about taking care of myself mentally and physically, is carving out that time. And it is very hard. And business encroaches the access that other people have to you through Facebook messaging, text messaging, calling you on the phone. Your phone's with you all the time. It was ringing behind me because I
Yeah,
forgot
mine
to
just
turn it.
buzzed.
Yeah, I forgot to turn it off. I hope it's not an emergency that I was missing. That's always the thing that's weighing in the back of your head too. Um, you just have to do it, and
Yeah.
if you don't, you'll burn out. If you don't, you'll come home crying. If you don't, you won't have any friends. If you don't, you will be mentally taxed. You have anxiety, you don't sleep, you miss out on your kids' lives, you miss out on your relationship with your spouse, and I feel like I'm saying a lot, so I'm sorry. The It's just it is very important, and I honestly don't know anybody who has told me like I've gotten there. I do it. I'm successful at it. I think it's a
I'm
journey that
not
we're all,
successful at
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, and you're getting going,
Yep.
and hopefully you will get there. And I would say to you, make sure you get there sooner than a decade because there is a lot that you miss out on. Beneficially, I have a lot of flexibility, more than a lot of people who work a 9 to 5 job, Monday through Friday job. Um, but I'm often doing payroll at 3 or 4 in the morning if there's something else I want to
Yeah.
do, during the day. But I could take my kids to the zoo. They're way too old for that now, but I could do those things with them and just know that I could push some of the work off to less convenient times
Yeah.
for myself. And on the other side, the benefits are um, I just really thrive off of getting to know people and having that energy with meeting new people, hearing their stories, where they come from, what are they passionate about, what do they like. I don't know, I just love that, the human interest side of it. And so I will say that waiting table, everyone eats pizza mostly. I have
I
one
do.
sister-in-law who doesn't like pizza, but I think most people in this community have had pizza whether they've liked it or not liked it.
Yeah.
One time, and I for 5 years I was the one waiting on them. So I got to know just tons of people here, and it's been awesome. Like we talked on the
Yeah.
phone when you told me today
Yeah.
I shared something with you during COVID over the phone. I might have been about chicken wings, I don't know, but um you just have that opportunity. There's the door opens when you answer the phone and
Yeah.
say thank you for calling, and it's like, oh, you pull up the address, you're my neighbor, or you live by my kid's school, or I don't
that
know.
that's one thing I really like about running my business here and being part of the community is that like the people I interact with and work with, the customers aren't just nameless faces that are coming in and out all the time. Like I recognize the person at Taco Bell who takes my order most of the time.
Yes.
I love Taco Bell, and it's
The
really,
bank,
yeah, the
the
bank. Oh
grocery
man,
store.
it's
Yeah,
amazing.
all of that.
And people who call me up and need help with whatever, and like we have that thing to talk about because we are living and thriving in this community.
Yeah.
But you mentioned this thing that calling you during COVID. I really wanted to bring this up because
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. So during COVID, I don't know if you started then or just really became prominent. You had this Tuesday deal going on with pizzas where it was like 2 pizzas for $20 throughout COVID.
Yeah, I think we had done that for a long time,
Okay.
but yeah.
Well, in my life, it became really prominent because there's people in the neighborhood and stuff that were like, man, we really like that feeling of going out, but it's super expensive and hard to do. We're all staying home. Some of us aren't working, but having that moment of being able to go and get gourmet quality food at an affordable rate, even if it's once a week,
Yeah.
is just like, it brings joy to people. It's something they look forward
Yeah,
to,
thank you
and
for
I thought
that.
that was incredible.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, thank you for that.
yeah,
We did a lot of fun things during COVID, and it feels like a lifetime ago and also like it was just yesterday. But someone asked me one time, why do you like owning a pizza shop? And I just remembered this. And it wasn't you, it was someone else. But um my answer to that is it's not about the pizza. I mean, yes, I love pizza, and I have an I'm Italian, and it's my great grandma's marinara that I learned to make that I use. We use the best cheese. We hand do our dough. It's a unique, it has some unique ingredients that aren't that common in pizza, but it's something that I learned in my family. Um, and so I love having that part of it. Like I am proud, even if you don't like it, it's fine. Different tastes, different strokes for different folks. But that part of it is great. But the other part of it is what you can do in the community through that. So fundraising. It's a central location where we have a giving tree from Take the Next Step at Christmas time. We've collected coats, we've collected school supplies. We did a free lunch program for kids during COVID that weren't able to get the school resource that they had. People, we had the unsheltered community. Some people that I know have known over the years, coming in and picking up gloves and garbage bags to clean up garbage in the alleys. I've done community service hours for someone who found me on Facebook, and they cleaned up one of the alleys. Some other people cleaned up Blueberry Lane. There was a lot of litter there one time. And I getting to hire my kids' friends and my friends' kids has been awesome. But the school fundraisers, the sending pizza to the police department and the ER and the fire department, and doing National Night Out, doing the fire department open house, doing fifth grade parties. There's always people that are reaching out to me saying, I'm hungry and I can't afford food. I'm out of work, or I don't have a house. I'm unsheltered right now. And, we feed them. And
That's awesome. I
yeah,
didn't even know you guys did that.
it's not official. People get my phone number is a matter of public record, actually. Yeah. So people will find my phone number and reach out. And, that's what that is for me. Like, pizza's great, and it's comfort food. So someone's hungry, they're really happy to have like a whole pizza that they can take with them. But being that connection, that point of connection is really important to me too. And I will say, I have employees that worked for me in 2011 or 2012 that I'm still in touch with. They still come in. Yesterday, someone messaged and said, I'm going to an Airbnb this weekend over the pass. Can we get some dough balls and stuff so we can make pizza? Of course, and
That's awesome.
it is awesome.
That's really cool.
I love that. I really do love that.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
I meet people at the dog park. It's an opportunity opener.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it.
Oh, I love that so much. It's impressive. All right, let's see what other boilerplate questions we got for you today. Oh man, you're kind of already hitting all these.
Oh, well, I'm a chatter, so
no, it's totally cool.
Throw something in front of me, I'll talk about it.
I would like to know a specific memorable experience you've had as a business owner outside of Monroe Pizza and Pints.
Okay. Let's talk about the whiskey bar.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Someone nominated us when we first opened in 2018 for a spot on Evening Magazine.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they came out, they set up cameras. There are 3 people that are on TV. They ate our food and they drank our cocktails and they talked about them. They were there all day long. The show aired at night, but you had to pretend like it was night at 10 in the morning.
Right.
I invited some community friends to come down and pretend to be patrons, so you could
little colored water at 10 in the morning.
Coffee and stuff like that.
Okay, that
and
makes
I think
sense.
there might have been a few by the time it got to be noon or 1, there might have been a few cocktails.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly. But that was super fun. We were on TV and we were on their social media, and it was amazing.
That's
It was
awesome.
a really cool experience. Yeah.
So tell me about Burnt Barrel, because how long ago did it open? I feel like I remember the days that it was being built and getting ready for, and honestly, I was super excited about it. It's this really, really cool spot. It's beautiful, and it just feels like you're entering this whole new world of this different environment that I'm not describing it well, but it just feels. It
has a vibe.
Yeah,
it has a vibe. And that's something that I love too. Right now, the pizza shop is in having some growing pains. COVID hit our dining room hard. It's not affordable to reopen. We pay differently than we did back then. My philosophies have changed about employment in food service. Like, a lot of stuff has changed. So I love when I know the vibe's going to be in there. We're just not there yet. At the bar, We lost the Hitching Post Cafe. You probably didn't live here. I don't know if you did.
Did not live here at that time.
It was a cool little staple spot for breakfast here. And we do have some nice breakfast places, but the variety I thought was lacking. And I thought it would be fun to open a place that was breakfast in the during the day and kind of bar loungy at night. In business mindedness, trying to maximize, you pay rent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And how can you be operating as much as possible?
Yeah.
So I developed this concept that I really wanted to do, and there was a building in Monroe that I wanted to be in, and I worked with the building owner for almost a year. And right before we were going to sign the lease, actually on a Friday, we're going to meet on Monday. On Saturday, he emailed and said he was going in a different direction, and I was devastated. Um, had gotten so excited about it. We developed a menu and
Yeah.
cocktails and what kind of furniture we wanted to buy and what we wanted the place to look at. We'd done inspections and walkthroughs and all of that. Um, and I had someone who was wanted to do that project with me, and she was more hey, no big deal. Let's just do something else. And I was I'm really upset. I need a grieving period.
Yeah.
And what we ended up doing was we're walking past the Dolofsky building in
Yeah.
downtown Monroe, which is the built in 1901, one of the oldest buildings, if not the oldest
Yeah.
building in the
That big
commercial
window front
district.
is iconic in
It
Monroe.
is, yes.
Sad that it's been empty, but
Yeah. The we decided to maybe just tame down the idea a little bit and take some piece of it and do the whiskey bar
yeah.
concept. And so the vibes in there, it was fluorescent lighting and baby blue walls and
Yeah.
indoor, like the old office carpet. And um I hung every light in there. We picked out our live edge. We picked the bark off and sanded, and
I love
had
that.
the wall built, designed the kitchen. Like it was, it was a labor of love. There was literally blood, sweat, and tears over that place.
I believe
And
it. It looks like a labor of love,
it,
but the
yeah,
design is just immaculate. I love it.
thank you. Thank you so much. We only play 1930s ragtime or
Yep.
jazz or New Orleans jazz. There's no TVs intentionally, where the cribbage boards and the card games and the little table books and stuff. I wanted people to feel comfortable going there alone,
Yeah.
going there with a party, going there with a couple, having a quiet Sunday afternoon. I had found oil and balsamic um, tasting room up in Bellingham on a trip with my husband for our anniversary. And I thought the distilled balsamics would be really good in cocktails, and that's kind of our signature drink line there.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a labor of love. It was fun. I wanted to have something I love some of the other local bars,
Right.
and I am there. I support them and had frequented them, but I wanted a little more date night, kind of a quiet, no sports,
Right.
place to have a conversation. And so that's what we're trying to do there. Um, yeah.
I feel like he succeeded. Like I said, I have some friends that frequent your establishment, and they love going there, and they just like it just feels like an escape, right? And sometimes you need something like that where you can just step out for 30 minutes to an hour
Yes.
and just be something else, be somewhere else, and just kind of relax. And I feel like that establishment really, really kind
Awesome.
of
I'm
imbibes that.
really thankful to hear that. We were barely open for a year, and
Yeah.
then COVID hit.
Yep.
And but the space that you were talking about that's empty
Yeah.
for 4 months or so,
Right.
I and my partner at the time had opened a little ice cream.
That was your shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted a sundries shop, so like a little bit of cutesy, um, a gift shop,
Yeah.
some stationery, a place to go buy a gift,
Yeah.
and then have the ice cream in there. Um, But unfortunately, uh, we had some issues in our business relationship and it didn't work out. And then COVID hit. And so um, I had to decide to close the bar or the
Yeah.
ice cream shop. And obviously, the bar was the winner.
Yeah.
um, and so yeah, it is a bummer because that space is really cool.
It's beautiful.
It's yeah, the windows are lovely. I really enjoyed being in there, but I love my bar and I'm happy
Yeah.
to be back over there.
That's awesome.
And we barely relaunched in at the end of December in 2019, and then March 16th we closed and we reopened March 17th a year later. Exactly a year. COVID
Yeah.
was,
Was
yeah,
finally letting people come in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it's been a journey.
Definitely. Oh,
Yeah,
man, I didn't know the ice cream bar was you. When I was starting to look at building this place, that building
yeah,
was one of the ones I looked at. There was a space upstairs that had some potential, and then I was looking at the downstairs space. It wasn't. It's beautiful. I would love to use it, but big open glass doesn't really suit well
no,
for
and it
shooting
gets
video.
really hot in there.
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't. This is a really beautiful space that you've
Thank you.
created in
Thank
here,
you. Yeah, it's
and I
great.
appreciate the labor that went into it for sure.
Yes, yes, it was a ton of work. I think it took us about 3 months of being here every night and just kind
Yeah,
of doing things.
relatable.
We're at the Savoy building for anyone that
Yep.
is
Another
curious.
cool downtown Monroe
It's been here for
building.
over 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the owner, Vicky, been phenomenal to work with. Every time I've had a request that's a little out of the norm, like I asked to paint the thing myself instead of hiring a painter just to save a little bit of money, and she was, very supportive, and letting me kind of get those cost cuts so that I could open up and still
Yeah.
succeed, which is fantastic. I'm very, very grateful for that.
Yes, a lot of the buildings, while they're cool, have some major challenges for
Yeah.
doing business, electrical, plumbing, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it does, yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah, it's but it's you get the nuance of being in the 100-year-old
Hmm.
like piece of history, right? That's
Yeah,
a
in this
long
building, you
time.
walk up those
Oh
stairs
yeah,
and
gorgeous,
yeah,
gorgeous. I love it when it rains because there's this big skylight that you can't really see, but when it rains, it just blows up with rain noise, and I personally think it's
yeah.
incredible.
Well, this glass, this cloudy glass is really pretty too.
It is.
There's a lot
It's...
of neat features. So I have a office upstairs from the bar too, and
Oh
it's a
yeah,
really big corner space, and it is amazing. I try to do Zoom calls there sometimes,
yeah,
and everyone can always hear the train and fire, not fire, but sirens, and
yep.
then also when the semis go coming down
Oh yeah.
Lewis Street. So it has its challenges too, but it's really
When
cool.
trains come through here, we basically shut down for a minute. It's like, oh, we're just gonna wait until this passes.
Totally, and trains are a big part of
Oh yeah, everyone that lives
our
here
vibe here too. Yeah,
understands. Like,
for
yeah,
sure.
sometimes it takes me an extra 5 minutes to get across town because I'm just stuck on
Or
my side of the
10.
light.
I mean,
Or 10,
let's
depending on
be
how long the
honest.
trains
Sometimes
are.
you can be there quite a while.
Yeah,
If you
that
can't
is
get
true.
that left turn arrow onto
Oof.
Highway 2.
Right.
Yeah.
So, are there any kind of cool community projects that we might not know that are happening right now? That you're...
Yeah, on my end, like from my standpoint, I would also say, I spent a lot of time involved in our city government.
Yeah.
On If there was a border commission, I was on it. And so it's really cool to see we got those new big wayfinding signs, the big Monroe
Yeah.
signs at the entrances. That we have that project that went along the fairgrounds that promotes walkability and just connection here. And our parks are amazing. We have an awesome parks department, and so we have really a lot locally that I think is so cool that I think people don't always know
Yeah.
when they think of Monroe. And even our downtown, if you primarily stay on Highway 2, you don't know that, there's all these little things going
Right.
on down here. We have Lewis and Main as an amazing restaurant with a super talented chef and business owner there. We have like a really nice high-end salon and spa. On the other corner, we
Yeah.
have the whiskey bar. We have just new stuff coming in all the time. We have a great bakery downstairs,
Right.
and I love Thai on Main. I'm there
Ah,
too much. You probably are too.
we
It's too
have
convenient.
two great
We
Thai
do.
restaurants in
I
our
love
neighborhood.
Benjerong as
I
well.
I struggle choosing which Thai restaurant to go to. I'm like, oh, we really want Thai food. Like, all right,
It's really which
where
one
are we
can I
going?
walk to or
Yeah,
which
there you
one's on the
go.
way. Yeah.
Which one is the most available?
Uh-huh.
We live on the other side of two, so Ben Jurong's is pretty easy to get to for us most of the time.
Yes. Yep. Me
But
too.
working here, I got Thai on Main right
Right
downstairs.
there.
I've been there more times, definitely, since I've been
Yeah.
here.
I love Milkwood. Milkwood did my I had these live edge boards
Yeah,
that I knew I wanted to make tables out of, and I just didn't have the bandwidth to build furniture again.
right.
And so I took it over to Alan, and he made these super cool pieces for me that are at the bar. That's another fun thing about owning a business. When I bought the pizza restaurant, I had some customers that did custom furniture, and they no longer live around here, but they
Mm.
moved their business to Eastern Washington. And um but he built me all these super cool tables for the
Yeah,
restaurant to get rid of the laminate, you just to give some more character to it. Anyway, that's a fun part of being able to source locally and support. But to your question, I'm on two not-for-profit boards. One is the Monroe Equity Community, and one is Beck's Place. And
okay.
I'll share about both of those
Yeah, I would
if
absolutely love
that's
to hear about
cool.
it.
I'll start with Beck's Place. I'm newer to that board, but I've been familiar with it for quite a while. My friend Melanie is the founder and president, and it removes pet-related barriers to families or people seeking stability.
Yeah,
And so it serves people in domestic violence situations. It serves people in unsheltered communities. It serves people who might need to go to rehab or have a surgery. And the goal is to keep families together, including their pets. So
yeah,
we do short term fostering, so people can get back on their feet. And you'd be surprised at how many people, especially in the elderly population, will choose to not get a surgery or something that they need for themselves because they don't have anyone to take care of their pet. So
yeah,
that's what we do. It's an awesome organization. We did an amazing fundraiser this winter down at Lewis and Maine with
yeah.
Chef Josh, and like the Wiggly Walk, and we'll pop up at different events. So I love that organization. I love the mission. It's amazing to be able to be part of that group. And then the Monroe Equity, now it's the community, it was formerly council. But we wanted to communicate in just even our name that it takes everyone
Yeah.
to build equity, and it no one owns it. It is, you're the community, I'm the community, everyone around is the community, and whoever wants to join in can join in.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of different things. I've searched the thesaurus for a different word for community and can't find one, so it just gets repeated a lot. But we've partnered with the awesome manager at Galaxy Theater, James,
Okay.
for Movies with Meaning series. We partner with the Black Student Union up at the high school. They did movies that we sponsored through Black History Month at the movie theater.
Awesome.
We have Pride. We've sponsored Juneteenth, and a newer event that last year was the first one, called Belonging, that celebrates all the different cultures represented in our community. So we call those the Monroe Equity Community Summer Events, MEC for short.
Nice.
MEC Summer Events. And Pride is June 11th. Juneteenth is the next weekend. I want to say it's the 17th. It's not on Sunday. Sunday's Father's Day. It's on Saturday.
So it's Saturday before Father's
The Saturday
Day.
before Father's Day. Saturday before June 19th.
Right.
And then, and for people who don't know, Juneteenth is it's called Freedom Day. It's the day that the news reached enslaved people in Texas, that they were actually free and didn't know yet in 1865.
Yeah. What is the Juneteenth celebration? What is happening during it?
Generally, what has happened in the past is There's food, there's music, there's education. It's a big educational piece. Um, I want to say last year, I can't remember if it was the BSU or just a lot of the same students and families that participate in the BSU at the high school. There was live poetry, speeches. Um, Last year there were some readings. Some kids read pieces from Frederick Douglass, speeches, um, food, music,
Yeah.
dancing, hanging out. Last year it poured rain, and
Oh
so
no.
we had a little bit of a rocky start. But there's also games. Um, yeah, it's just it's a celebration of freedom,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, it is. And then Pride. This is our third Pride.
We have been to the first two.
It's awesome
So happy that
too.
it's here.
It's the same kind of thing. Music, celebration of love and freedom and personhood and identity and all of those things that we need to take a pause and just sit with,
Yeah.
at least for a day, if not every day. And all those events are down at Sky River Park,
Right. I love that
here in
park, by the
Monroe.
way. It's
Me
beautiful.
too.
I feel like
It's a
it's a
lovely
little
park.
underrated. People are always like, "Oh, we're gonna go Lake Ty." I'm like,
I didn't discover it for a couple of years
"Oh
after
yeah,
I lived here, and I was like, "What is?" Because Lake Ty is so
it's
busy, and
huge."
the parking is harder, and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then Belonging is in September.
Okay. What's
The
that?
first weekend after Labor Day.
Okay.
So last year it was September 10th, which unfortunately was the first day of the Bolt Creek fire.
Yeah.
We were setting up with ashes pouring down and didn't know what was going on. But that is a cultural celebration, and we want to make sure that everyone who lives here feels like they belong. And we had mariachi band, reading, multicultural book reading center. We had a partnership with the Skycomish Valley Indian Education Center that is
Yeah.
part of the Monroe School District, but I think it serves the whole valley. Um, we had an awesome DJ. We had dancers from all over the state come representing their culture. Aztec dancers, the dragon. Um, they're a youth program, but they're from the Buddhist temple and they do the dragon dance and the drums,
Oh,
the
that's so
percussion. Yeah,
cool.
it was amazing. We had a guitar and Native American flute player, and then there was a lot of vendors representing hand woven baskets and jewelry, and just a celebration of culture. This year I expect it to be a lot bigger because we got our first one underneath us, and it
Yeah.
was awesome, and we have been blowing up with vendors and volunteers
That's
and food trucks,
fantastic. I
and yeah,
absolutely love that.
it's going to be amazing. And the thought process behind that is we have the fair. Everyone is out of town usually the last Memorial or Labor Day
Yep.
weekend, and but the first weekend in September is usually great weather.
Yeah.
The park is beautiful. um the People are looking for something to do. They're not necessarily going camping anymore.
Yeah.
People have just had their first week of school, and it's just a great time to come together and hang out
That's
and
awesome.
reconnect with the community.
Yeah. Speaking of community, I know we've used that word a ton
Yeah,
because we can't really come up with
it's hard to get
other
away
words
from
for it.
it.
Um, so I've been doing a lot of reading and watching TikTok videos and
Yeah.
like just being on the internet trying to absorb as much information as I can. And one of the things that really stuck out to me over the last few months is this sense of like close community that I, for one, I moved around a lot as a kid. And
Mm-hmm.
so that close community really kind of, I never really quite got, right? Not that it wasn't given to me, but just like I didn't quite understand it as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's really easy to miss as we go through our hustle and bustle of life and we're moving around and, we're coming home and spending time with our families and, that work, home, work, home.
The hamster wheel
Yeah, the
is what I
hamster
call
wheel.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always
And
telling my counselor, I just want to get off the hamster wheel.
yeah. And something that has really kind of brought joy to my life, being as part of this journey that I'm currently on, is the number of people in Monroe specifically, and with businesses and with the community outreach programs, that really try and make it a part of who they are, to accept and bring people in for in just in general. We have all of these community events that happen all the time. My neighborhood is having a Easter egg hunt just for
Oh,
all the kids in the neighborhood to come out and do Easter egg hunts. They do on 4th of July. They do a big parade throughout the neighborhood, and these are all just people volunteering their time to put this stuff
yeah.
on. And I, for one, am very touched by this, and I really love it. And I love that it is such a huge part of your life. A lot of my interactions with you are on Facebook and online and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but seeing another person who is passionate about giving of themselves to make things better for others means a lot to me as a person, and I know it means a lot to other people. And so I'm just really happy to have you here and to be hearing about all
Oh,
these
thank
things,
you.
and hopefully hearing about them will bring other people who aren't maybe not paying attention to
Yeah.
these things or not know that they're happening, to realize that there's a whole group of people out here that are all about love and happiness and trying to bring that sense of community again.
Yes. Trying to define kind of what we're doing in the Monroe equity community. And in case anybody isn't familiar with the word equity, we're talking about basically giving people what they need where they're at when they need it.
Yeah.
And we all need different things at different, I don't know, what was that?
I don't know, something
There's
fell
something going on
somewhere.
outside. But giving people what they need when they need it and how they need it. And so I've really loved learning about how to do that more. But for me, it means if a school needs a fundraiser, we can do a fundraiser. We can help fill in the gap. I write checks for all kinds of things all the time. Um, it means if the staff needs something because they are of part of a faith community, or even just personally in their family, the way their family operates, or what they need individually. You know, during COVID, mental health was such a huge thing. And we kind of got into this groove where we closed frequently on a Monday. We went whale watching. We went out to dinner. We like tried to do stuff to just ease that anxiety that was going on. We had combative customers. We had combative posts on our social media. It was just a very stressful, and everybody lived in different situations with elderly or sickly parents, spouses, roommates, and then just what were their own mental health journey. And so when we talk about giving people what they need, that's, to me, that's just basic humanity.
Yeah.
um I don't, it doesn't, everyone doesn't need to be a Dr. Martin Luther King, you know.
Good,
You
because
can just
it's a big
yeah.
a big bar to get to.
Yes, it's not it's we recently had this really great speaker come, and she said it's your 6 feet of influence. And so it's, how do you treat the people around you? How do you meet them where they're at? We say that a lot, but I don't think we always recognize exactly where people are at. I had to grow in my compassion a lot for the people who work for me, that it's like, hey, I'm just having a rough week. I'm terrified, something on the news happened. I need some time off. And teaching us to care for each other, where some people would cover that person's shift, and then a few weeks later that person would cover other people's shifts,
Yeah.
just so we could all be where we needed to be in such a stressful time. But just because we're not in that pressure cooker of COVID anymore doesn't mean that still doesn't exist around us. Everyone's going through something.
Yeah.
For me in 2020, besides COVID, our dog was diagnosed with cancer, and it was
Sorry to hear that.
one, thank you. I'll try not to cry, but it was one of the most heart-wrenching things I've ever gone through.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize how much that dog meant to me until I was her hospice care for 6 months, and just trying to do everything we could. And I was so thankful for my community at work that said, you don't need to come in. you just, you take care of maybe, um, we'll make sure the store is doing okay. And when I had free times that someone needed something from me, I was able to give that back. So growing that culture, I want to see that type of community care grow outside of the pizza shop, outside of the bar, outside of, you and me, and engulf the bigger community around us. So
Yeah.
I don't remember where I was going with that,
It's
but
okay.
that's my message.
All right, sounds good. Man, I understand the whole dog thing. We recently, within the last few years, lost one of our animals,
I'm
and
sorry.
he was a huge part of my wife's life
Yeah.
before she even met me, and then being with me, a huge part of my life as well. So I completely understand that pain. It's hard.
It still is.
Yeah.
I had to go to counseling.
Right. She's in there doing the webcast right now, so for all I know, she's in there crying. about our
We'll
lost
try not
animal
to
as
cry
well.
on camera, but she can cry at the desk. I sometimes have to do that too, just have a cry in the car about it.
And we've been dog people our whole lives, and so it's a significant part of your life. I totally get that.
When you asked about business, I remember in 2015 and 16 when I was just working all the time and coming home and my dog would bark, and I had a moment where I thought to myself, who am I that my dog barks at me when I come home? Like something's not balanced in life,
right?
But yeah, those dogs are, part of your soul.
No, yeah, 100%. Sorry, now I'm just thinking about my animals and how much
too.
I love them. All right, let's see if we can pivot a little bit. We hit values.
We did. We hit values.
Yeah. You know what I want to hear about?
Yeah.
The box and board. The
Sure.
charcuterie spot. I know we're back to business.
Yeah, that's okay.
But we love charcuterie. Something I really got into recently is making roses out of meats.
We call those meat flowers.
Meat flowers, yeah. I call them meat flowers as well. I love doing it. I know it's like the simplest process ever, but the fact that it can be so simple yet create something so beautiful to me.
Yeah.
And then we just get to destroy it by eating it and enjoying it. It's a fantastic experience. So what kind of got you into trying to do a charcuterie business?
Well, at the bar,
yeah,
we have a tiny kitchen. It's maybe as big as this space.
Oh man, this is a small space, by the way.
And there are no exterior walls for a hood.
Okay.
So it's a cold kitchen, and the way things have changed in food service, and I don't want to bore everyone with details, but it's just not Yeah, exactly. It's just not profitable to staff and try to hold a big menu of food and whatever. So I started doing charcuterie boards there. We call them deconstructed sandwich boards, in case the liquor board is listening. They don't like charcuterie.
Just a deconstructed sandwich restaurant.
Yeah, it's too loose for what they want you to provide when you're serving alcohol. Yeah. So we meet the requirement. They don't like to say charcuterie. And people started asking can I get one to go? Can I take one home? And so I started thinking about how to, expand on that. The last 3 years have been all about how to make one more dollar, because the dollars they go to labor, they go to the expensive food, they go to our expensive rents and utilities and all of that stuff. So, most of the expansions, or I guess pivots, that I've tried to make encompass some element of something we're already doing.
Yeah. And
trying to build on that into a different thing. So it's been very fun. I started doing tables, and the charcuterie, I know it's not unique. Lots of people are doing it. Lots of people are doing it very well. I see it on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. And it's fun to see what other people are doing. And I'm always happy for other business owners. Like, bring it.
Oh, 100%.
We're here for each other. We're a community. There's no competition.
I was talking about that with so I had a meeting this morning with somebody who is in marketing and a wide spectrum of expertise this person has. And it's the first time meeting him, and we were talking about how, like, some of the stuff we're trying to do, like this particular talk, as well as the rest of the series, is very similar to what he's trying to do. And like, part of that conversation was about competition and, like, that feeling of like, oh, this person may steal my business. Mm-hmm. And I shot that down really quick, because to me personally, there's no real competition. It's really like, actually you mentioned earlier, as the tides rise, the boats rise
Yeah.
together kind of a thing. And working with and collaborating only makes me personally, my skills better, and
Agree.
the products that I create better.
Agree.
And well, yes, there is a sense of like, oh, you need money to survive and thrive the business. Really, I feel like I have thrived more working together with businesses and trying to build us both up
Yes.
than being worried about competition.
I don't like people to copy, because I
Yeah,
like to take ownership of my creativity.
of course.
But I also, there's 20,000 people in this town.
That is quite a lot.
I can't serve everyone,
Yeah.
and I certainly can't offer a product that everyone likes.
Yeah.
I remember when Pizza Hut was coming in and people were like, "Oh, are you worried about Pizza Hut?" And I said, "No, I have fond memories of many a Pizza Hut,
Oh,
you
that
know."
cheesy crust? Are you kidding
Yes,
me? Eating my
yeah.
pizza backwards?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Nostalgia all the way.
absolutely. And so what?
Yeah.
Good for them. Good for me, good for them, good for Jet City, Alfie's, Geno's, Toscano's. Who else serves pizza in this town? Um, Papa Murphy's.
Oh, yeah. I used
Did
to
I
get
name
down on
them
some
all?
Papa
Because I want
Murphy's.
to be Domino's.
Oh, Domino's, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Want to
when
be
they
inclusive.
adjusted their recipes and brought out those seasoned crusts, I was in love for a
Hey,
minute there.
sometime we close at a certain time,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I'm hungry at 2 in the morning, and you better believe Domino's comes to our house
Rochelle and I
sometimes.
used to be up at like midnight, 1 in the morning, playing video games on our
Yes.
computers together. And yeah, we definitely order
Yep.
some, barbecue pizzas from
Yes, I've
Domino's.
spent a lot of time in Geno's. I
Oh yeah,
love Geno's pizza too,
yep.
and a lot of the other stuff they make. So I have had experiences. It's actually
Geno's was
cool.
the first restaurant we had ever been to when we
No
came to Monroe.
kidding.
It's the first one we went to.
Been here for 50 years. It's a
Yeah.
staple of downtown. Um, I get calls regularly now where someone says, "I got your number. I want to open a business. Will you talk to me about starting a business here in Monroe?" And I love that. That's
Yeah.
another awesome part of whatever brand I am for,
Yeah.
in the
Your
community.
own personal brand.
Yes. It's just fun to help people, but there's a lot of times that I have people come in and say, "Oh, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and I'm going to just take over this downtown." And, that's a red flag for me. Usually they don't stick around for very long because the partnership and the community and the collaborative um, ideal is so much better for all of us.
Yeah.
Just what you were talking about, what I've talked about before is it's not a competition. It is people come for options and for variety and for some place that's thriving and teeming with life.
Yeah.
Not for one place that stands out among everything else and tries to put everyone else to shame or put them out.
Right.
So, yeah, I really appreciate, the on Thursday night, on first Thursdays at Burnt Barrel is the only time we have wine in the bar.
Oh, actually, I heard about
We're
this.
100% committed to our whiskey, with and without an E, bourbon and scotch. And we
Wait, what's
have
whiskey without an E?
Japanese
Oh,
whiskey,
okay.
Scotch whiskey. I
I've
think it's
never thought about the differences based on the way it's
I,
spelled. I just
word
imagine them
nerd.
all the
So when
same.
I'm trying to write something and
Right.
it's like, well, do I do that without the E or with the E? So I just do both now: whiskey, bourbon, and
There you
scotch.
go.
There's someone who knows a lot more about whiskey out there, and I'm totally fine with that. I love learning from
Wow.
my
Some people are
customers.
just incredible geniuses
I
when
don't
it comes
have
to whiskey.
and I don't have the bandwidth to be an expert in everything.
Yeah.
So, if I offended anyone by not clearly stating where there is and aren't E's, I generally think of it in the American spelling as
Yeah.
with an E.
If anyone
So,
does have any links or anything, go
yeah,
ahead and post
comment,
them. That
yeah,
sounds
comment.
amazing. I would love to learn about
Bring
that.
it for sure.
Yeah.
But we have wine on Thursday, so I'm sitting there. My daughter came to town. She lives up north, and then some of my staff came from the pizza shop, and some of my other friends came, and we were sharing a table with another group. Turns out one of them was the owner of Jersey Mike's, and I couldn't stop talking about it because I love their sandwiches up there. Um, but and then Josh from Lewis and Maine came over, and Sam from the Tattoo Ink Blot Collective
Oh yeah,
next to.
Sam does my tattoos.
She's awesome.
Yep.
You know, they come in, and I just love sitting there and seeing all these people from my business community specifically too. Like, these are leaders, and they took a risk, and they're doing something. Even just owning a food establishment is an offering to the community. If you
100%.
knew how much time Josh spends on his menu, how much time we spend sourcing food. Darren from Sky River and I, you know, during COVID had, it's like you couldn't find flour, you couldn't find butter. I would
Yeah,
text people ramen at Bella Balducci. We ran out of containers, and he's got containers for me. And so just having that
that's
going on just
incredible.
within the, yes, it is incredible. Who wants to be in competition
That's
with each
straight up
other?
magic.
It is. Who wants to argue? Like, let's just help each other. And it's been, it's worked for me. So
That's
I
amazing.
don't really see a downside to it.
All right, well, we're coming up on the end of our segment.
Yes, okay.
Uh,
We made it.
yes, we made it.
We were
Right?
both so nervous.
I was so nervous. It's the first time I've ever done something like this, so it's really
Well,
kind of
and
exciting.
I don't get behind a camera very often. I I like to, I'll be in the kitchen, I'll be doing dishes, I'll be tearing down tables or whatever. But I
Well,
don't.
I hope this was relaxing for you.
It was.
and that we were
You
able
did
to
great.
talk.
You made me
Thank
feel
you.
very
I'm
comfortable.
glad. If you'd like to look at that camera over there, if there's 30 seconds of anything you want the community to know specifically, this would be your time.
Um, Besides plugging those community events that are coming up, I just would say thank you to our community. It hasn't been an easy road. Even before COVID, you know, there was a lot of things that are hard about starting a business, taking over a business, rebranding a business, all of those things. And for the most part, we've experienced nothing but support. And we would just offer from my family, from the business community, just a thank you, serious gratitude. We appreciate everything that we have here because of the support from people who live here. So
Thank you so much.
yeah,
That's
thank
amazing.
you.
And for all of you that are watching, we're shooting this here at Crystal Clear Studios. If your business or you have something going on in the community you would like to share, contact me. Hit me up on Facebook. You can give me a call. My number is 425-905-9872. You can send me an email, justin@crystalclearstudios.net. All the stuff's on my Facebook, so you can follow us there and check it out. We would love to have you. I want to hear about your stories. I would love to get you guys in the studio. The place is also for rent if you guys decide that you want to shoot your own thing here. The space is for rent.
Good
to
to
come
know.
and use the spot. If you guys have videos you want to make, or you just want to feel creative or
Maybe
learn
a
how to do it all.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, Kickstarters, all sorts of stuff. So hit us up anytime. Thank you so much, Bridget.
Thank you.
This has been so much fun. I'm so glad
Yeah.
we decided to do this.
And maybe we can do it again.
Oh, definitely.
We'll talk
definitely.
about something else.
All right.
Before though, since you're doing that phone number thing, I'm gonna give mine.
Go for it. Yeah.
425-263-0492. I don't answer, but I do text. If you have ideas or thoughts or questions, you know, about doing business, starting a business, opening a business, the city, just holler at me. I love talking about our community.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.